Oh no, oh no, give it, oh no, oh no, oh no, give it your, oh no.
Oh no, oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no.
Tails and Knuckles, Sonic's best friend and first rival. These two are all-stars in the Sonic cast. Not only are they some of the first characters to be introduced, but are also many people's favorites. Well, now that these two Genesis classics are up to bat in my series, we get to see if the 2D from the classics translates well to the 3D of Adventure. For those of you new to the series, this video will be taking a look at Tails and Knuckles' story campaign in Sonic Adventure. The reason? I grew up playing Sonic Adventure on PS3. Come to find out, it was the worst version to play. So in this series, I have some mods from BlazeHedgehog, link in the description, installed on the PC port of Sonic Adventure, that makes this as close to the definitive version of the game as I could get it. So as I immerse myself in childhood nostalgia with a brand new coat of paint, I decided to document my time playing this title to share with all of you. However, before I begin, if you haven't checked out the first part of the series where I detail my time playing through Sonic's story, I highly suggest you go check it out. I put a lot of love into it and would love to see some love given back. Can I say love anymore? And while you're at it, you should consider subscribing, as I have much more content to come, and it's only going to get better from here. So with all that out of the way, it's time to fly high as we dive into Tails' story in Sonic Adventure.
Select your character.
Here I come, Sonic!
Tails' story starts off with him testing out a new plane. However, this doesn't last long as his power supply fails him as he starts JPEG sliding across the screen, in one of the goofiest looking segments. Shortly after though, Sonic comes to find him sitting in the sand making sandcastles as he waits for Sonic to come to his aid. After getting heroically checked on by the Sonic the Hedgehog, he shows off his new power supply, a Chaos Emerald. Tails, who shows off an emerald that he was using. Then he tells Sonic the fastest way is the train. Wait a second. Then he fights Eggman with no damage. Quagmire arm. Yeah, so a big part of Sonic Adventure is that each character has their own individual story. However, this can lead to a lot of overlapping in the stories, as each story intertwines with each character. I hear a lot of complaints about this between people's retrospectives of the series because they feel that it makes the story drag when you're rewatching the same scenes multiple times depending on what character you're playing as. I can see where people are coming from with this take, however, I disagree as there are enough differences in the dialogue to make the scenes fresh enough for the rewatch. Obviously, I won't be going too much into detail of scenes that are repeating for the purpose of this series, but I think it is important to address it as it is a big chunk of the game and can be seen as a con to this type of storytelling. So to those who have paid attention to Sonic's story, you know our next stop is Windy Valley. This stage sure has a good bit to talk about. Too linear for Sonic, but too open for Tails? Another big make or break in this game is character gameplay. Tails and Knuckles especially. These two felt important to group together in a video because this game perfectly converts their 2D gameplay to 3D. However, the stages are a different story. Speaking only on Tails at this moment, his gameplay in the 2D games involves his flight, which gives him horizontal and vertical movements, which in the 2D environment is fine as it is easy to make boundaries for the characters to restrict movements that break the game. Well, at least more so than you could with these 3D environments. In 3D, all those constraints are gone. As many people will talk about, this first stage is a joke for Tails, as you can pretty much fly straight to the end. Which, to do this, you first need to have an idea of the layout to plot the course, which I, did not. However, even without the knowledge of the layout, trying to skip over the level as much as possible got me to the goal in just over the minute mark. This is something that is very game-breaking, and depending on how you play games, can be seen as pretty bad. However, the way I see it, you have already played through these stages as Sonic at this point. So what harm is it to have an easier mode with Tails, where you can find the best skips to cut down your time as much as possible? And even with Tails' game-breaking mechanics, as a kid I wasn't aware of them. When I played as Tails, my first thought wasn't, oh ho ho, now with the power of flight, let me just skip an entire chunk of this game! It was, oh snap, Tails needs to race Sonic. How is he ever going to be able to do that? Not a lot of kids are gonna know about these skips, and the racing aspect keeps it fresh enough that it's fun to play through these stages. It also plays into Tails' story of becoming independent instead of just living in the shadow of Sonic. Going to Station Square, I make my way to a secret passage that allows me to snag Tails' first upgrade that allows him to fly faster, to then make my way to right after this short intermission as I have to go do stuff with the lasagna. So after I got my lasagna handled, I make my way to Casinopolis, where it's a race through the sewers to snag the next emerald. After which, we come out for Eggman to dive bomb into the street and snag our emerald. So after staring at the cream cameo again, I make my way forward. Going to Ice Cap Zone, it's a snowboard race to the end, which wasn't very eventful, so here's a prediction I make that I'm sure is going to come true at some point.
Hey, hey, hey!
Hey, hey, hey! What is he, Fat Albert? God, how long until we get the Fat Albert reboot? And it's gonna be on some fucking streaming service too. After accurately guessing the future, we run into Knuckles, who starts beef with this 8-year-old and still gets his ass handed to him. After so, we fight Chaos 4 again, although without Sonic's homing attack, it was a bit trickier dealing damage to him. And after Sky Chase, where I let some of my opinions out, I don't know, I never have really had fun with the tornado sections. Because it's always the same. You're just flying around. And in this one, I don't even have to shoot anything. If I wanted to, I could just dodge everything and then that's it. Which defeats the purpose. It's just making it less fun for myself. But it's just tornado sections are mid. Sonic, even in Sonic Mania, when I think of my least favorite section, it's that tornado section. Or Oil Ocean. Oil Ocean isn't my favorite. I don't know. The color palettes just don't hit. But yeah, I don't know. And then Sonic Unleashed. Ugh, the tornado sections in that game, I hate. I hate them so much. It's literally just QTE segments the entire time. We finally get into some story unique to Tails. After crash landing back into Mystic Ruins, Tails has a dream recalling the first time he met Sonic, where he somehow has the upgrades he attained just moments earlier. Same with Sonic, who just has all of his upgrades. Apparently at some point in their lives, they had to have flushed these things down the toilet, seeing that I'm finding these shits in the sewers. They really need to be more careful with this stuff. That leads us to today's sponsor. Just kidding, I don't get sponsored. After waking up, Tails is greeted with the most beautiful sunset, rivaling the one Sonic had seen. The browns really made such an eye-catching palette that made me have to take another moment to just stop and admire the beauty. After which, I make my way to the forest where I find an emblem that unlocks Sonic the Hedgehog, a DX perk I had forgotten about, to then find a frog that eats a Chaos Emerald and leads me to a plugged hole that again leads me to the desert where Tails sandboards down some dunes to catch the frog. For as much as I was talking about Tails' flight, it actually hasn't come into play a lot. The first stage was really game-breaking, but then what? Casinopolis is restricted to tunnels, and then there were 2 snowboarding levels that you can't fly in, and then a tornado section, with another tornado section to come. As I play through more of this game, I'm starting to think all the people complaining about Tails' game-breaking abilities are just looking for reasons to complain. Because I was excited to be flying straight to the end for it to basically not play any part into the levels Tails are in. After this rude awakening, Tails catches the emerald-eating frog to be whisked away into a trance where he's taken back to the vision of the Enchilada tribe years back. After acquiring the Rhythm Badge, as this is one of the only upgrades that if you miss it, you can't get it later, I go to chat with the only echidna that looks different from the whole tribe. This one unique character is Tikal, and she tells us a saying passed down to her from her granny ma, a phrase so popular about the Chaos Emeralds that I'm gonna let her say it.
The servers are the 7 chaos. Chaos is power, power enriched by the heart. The controller is the one that unifies the chaos.
After being asked for my name, we wake up to a big oaf of a character fumbling our way, to fall and make us drop his froggy friend. Somehow, though, Tails ends up with the emerald. I wonder how he, got that. Anyways, back on topic. After admiring yet another beautiful sky, we make our way to Tails' workshop where he soups up the Tornado 2 to pick Sonic up and make his way through yet another sky chase to board the egg carrier, leading us to Sky Deck, where I eat my words as I beat the level in 1 minute and 10 seconds. We then go to beat the crap out of E102 and jump ship as it blows up with hyper-realistic explosions. And as we land back in Station Square, we find Eggman as he plans to take his rage out onto the town by blowing it up. The missile, however, backfires and lands into Speed Highway, which has me eating my words again as I leave Eggman in the dust, making my way to the missile before him and deactivating it. Being the sore loser Eggman decides to take his anger out on this 8-year-old kid by trying to kill him. Tails, finally taking a stand for himself, fights back, coming out on top as the town cheers for him as he flies away to find Sonic to tell him all about his victory, leading us to the credits. Tails' story was very wholesome, as we see this young fox whose low self-esteem rose to the occasion and really proved himself as a strong individual. I think Tails' story in this game is very heartwarming and makes it easy to see why people consider him their favorite character. Outside of the story though, I talked a lot of crap and ended up kinda eating my words for it. Kinda. I can see why people can be upset about Tails' flight in this game, as it makes the stages that it's used in go by in seconds. However, it's only really prominent in 3 stages, with 2 stages being snowboarding, another 2 being sky chase, and Casinopolis being completely closed and restricting the player's abilities to skip it. Which, to be fair, these levels may have been so restricted because Sega, noticing the problem that came from Tails being able to fly, they put them in a lot of situations where he can't to level it out. However, I think for the stages it is in, yeah, it can be seen as a problem, and it definitely doesn't work the best with just plopping Tails into Sonic stages. But I don't think there's enough of it to consider it a real problem. And I do see how they could fix this problem though, in something I had seen towards the end of Speed Highway. There is special platforming that was put in just for Tails, and honestly the open platforming like that could really work in his favor if the concept was tweaked a little. Making the platforms more spaced out and making it a vertical climb, if done right, could make for a better transition from 2D to 3D level-wise for Tails. But we've talked a whole lot about Tails 2D to 3D, so what about Knuckles?
Select your character.
Okay, let's go.
Starting off in Knuckles' story, we find him sitting atop the shrine to the Master Emerald as he ponders his purpose. The Master Emerald explodes, dispelling the blue liquid of chaos, as well as the light of Tikal. Knuckles jumps to his feet, ready to take on any threat to the item he has sworn to protect. Too bad it's destroyed and he already failed his job, but he doesn't let that get hit to him though, as he confronts Chaos, ready to lay the smackdown of his life. Too bad Chaos flees before Knuckles can do anything. However, with the Master Emerald pieces now scattered across the land, nothing is able to keep the island afloat. As it plummets into the water, Knuckles knows what he has to do. Getting into the gameplay of Knuckles, we make our way to Speed Highway, where we're introduced into Knuckles' game mechanics. Knuckles, needing to find the pieces of the Master Emerald, gets to go on a treasure hunt throughout locations to find 3 pieces per stage. An interesting way to incorporate Knuckles' gameplay, as this is a complete departure from his gameplay in the 2D games, which I have mixed feelings on. On the one hand, I really like the gameplay change-up for Knuckles. It makes his playthrough feel fresh and different from the other characters. But on the other hand, I would have liked to see platforming tailored to Knuckles' skill set, as there is a lot of untapped potential in Knuckles' gliding and climbing abilities. I wouldn't like to see the stages he has now be completely removed, but the addition of those levels could have been a lot of fun for Knuckles. Oh, and would you look at that, we found the last Emerald Shard in this level. Leaving this level, Knuckles makes his way to the casino, where we get to explore the grounds. The casino is all types of did up for Knuckles, with a lot of attractions to explore as we hunt for the shards. So as a fun fact, in the middle of the Knuckles casino stage, there is a statue of Sonic on display. This statue is something you can achieve in Sonic's story, but only by getting an absolutely outrageous number of rings. So seeing this in Knuckles' stage means that Sonic is canonically addicted to gambling, which statistically gamblers typically give up right before they win big. So take after Sonic, and maybe the next Liverpool will be your ticket to riches. So I consulted my Twitch chat, and they told me that gambling was good, so you could definitely trust my endorsement, and check out my Twitch while you're at it. Link in description. Editing Austin here. I forgot to record about this part, so just a quick mention so that I can say I touched up on it. Basically, we have this confrontation with Tikal and her father, where Tikal is begging him to not go forward with his plans to capture the Chaos Emeralds. Meanwhile, you get Knuckles in the background looking like a total creeper. Like, model is just steel as can be. Look at him back there. Ooh. Anyways, back to our leaving the casino with emerald shards in hand, we see our cream Easter egg and Sonic and Tails sleeping on the job. So, to pick up the slack, we make our way back to the hotel where we find it's Dr. Real Fat Ass! As he enters an elevator exclusive to Knuckles' part of the story. As we confront Eggman, he sends Chaos 2 on us. Knuckles makes quick work of the water blob though, to then be tricked by Eggman. The guy who just actively sent his dog out to attack us. Because when someone attacks you, that's when you should trust them. But Knuckles, being an idiot, makes his way to Mystic Ruins on the lookout for Sonic, taking a quick pit stop to grab the Monkey Destroyer bomb, and make his way to Red Mountain to grab some more shards. Leaving Red Mountain, I find Sonic and Tails, where Knuckles sees a Chaos Emerald that's green and looks like a, well, Chaos Emerald. But that doesn't matter, as Knuckles assaults Sonic, making him drop the emeralds and launch us into our third Chaos 4 boss fight. Sega must have really thought they were cooking with this boss, since I've had to fight him 3 separate times. Beating Chaos 4 again, but this time with spiky fist thingies, we split paths with Sonic so that we can take care of unfinished business. Finding our way to the jungles and Mystic Ruins, we find some keys that open the passage into the next level, but using my treasure hunting senses and a guide on YouTube, I find my way to Knuckles' second upgrade, the fighting gloves. Underwhelmed by them, I make my way to our next level, which honestly, these levels don't leave me too much to talk about. They are fun in their own way, but there isn't too high of a skill ceiling in the treasure hunting sections, and most are over really fast. Knuckles' story is really intriguing, but I feel underwhelmed by the actual gameplay, which sucks because Knuckles is goated, and I think he really suffers for not having any platforming sections. It feels like his potential has kind of been wasted, and I hate to say that, especially since his story is pretty good. Because as we beat the level, we are taken to another vision, which I forgot to talk about the first, so oops. Anyways, in the vision, Knuckles sees Tikal pleading with the forces of the Emerald to flee as the Echidna tribe readies themselves to seize the power of the Emeralds for themselves. Learning that the Emeralds are stuck where they are, Tikal goes to try and reason with her father, the tribe leader, one more time. Waking up, Knuckles takes his shard pieces and reconstructs most of the Master Emerald, allowing him to see his last destination for the remaining shards, which are on Eggman's ship. Not knowing how to get there, Knuckles follows E-102, hoping he would guide him, which is exactly what he does. Making his way onto the ship, Knuckles heads into Skydeck, where this asshole messes with the ship's tilt controls to find the last pieces of the Emerald. As Knuckles finally gets his hands on the last shard, he is sent to another vision of the aftermath of the Echidna tribe attack on the Emerald Shrine. Unfazed by this, Knuckles leaves the vision wondering what chaos really is, his thoughts disturbed by an explosion in the distance. Finding out what caused the disturbance, we find Sonic and Eggman at the end of their battle as they hop ship. As they do, Chaos 6 reveals himself to not have been defeated, so with the help of some ice bombs, Knuckles takes down Chaos 6 and makes his way back to his island to restore the Master Emerald and return to the sky where he ponders on his existence once more. With a new outlook this time, he finds himself thinking that his past maybe doesn't matter, instead focusing on the task and not caring about why he was tasked with it. Leading us to the credits. Knuckles' story is one of understanding. Left on an island by himself, he ponders on why he was tasked with being the sole protector of the Master Emerald. But through the duration of his adventure, he comes to find that the reason doesn't matter, as long as he does what he feels destined to do. A strong story, but one I feel that the gameplay hinders a bit. As I talked about, I think Knuckles' gameplay is good, and story-wise it does make sense for him, but the gameplay feels kind of one note. Not only does he have very minimal stages, but they're pretty short, only lasting a couple of minutes. If this story was fleshed out a bit more, I would have loved to see more stages that had a focus on his platform capabilities. Something that could work would be a climb to the top of the mountain, where you have to glide peak to peak. Something like Sonic's version of Red Mountain, where he climbed it in hopes of reaching Eggman's ship, instead of just getting on it before it takes off. Knuckles' gameplay just feels like it's lacking in a way where I'm left wanting more. It's a good problem to have, as the story is fun, but it just could have had a bit more of a punch to it. Not the best note to end on, but hopefully Amy's story picks the mood back up in the next episode of this ongoing series. In the end, I had a lot of fun and hate to see more of this wonderful adventure behind us as we hit the halfway mark of this series. However, if you like what you've seen, I highly suggest subscribing so you don't miss any future installments, or just any other videos I post. If you also want to see me make these videos live, or any other games I play, check out my Twitch, which will be in the description. And with all the shilling out of the way, I'll see you all in the next episode.